Well, Rich here, and today I'm down at J&M Hobby House in San Carlos. I'll put a link to them below the video because I've come down here and they've got in stock my new Losi Mini B. So let's get this home and get it unboxed. Well, Rich here, and welcome back to the channel, my fellow drifting maniacs. Time for a small unboxing, and when I say small, that thing is very small. In fact, it's way smaller than I thought it was going to be. It is my new Losi Mini B buggy. I did debate getting the Mini T when that first came out some while ago, but sort of sat on the fence a little bit. But when it came to the Mini B buggy, my friend John from Fog City RC persuaded me it was a good idea to get a Mini B if I possibly could. So in today's video we're going to be unboxing and testing the Mini B and seeing what we get for our money, and then later on in the week I have got a slightly larger buggy from WL Toys which has just come in to test as well, and they're around about the same price point. So if anybody would like to see me run the new 124018 against the Mini B, have your say in the comment section right now, because I think that might be quite an interesting test, although the WL Toys one is slightly bigger than the Mini B. Anyway, let me bring that camera a little closer and let's have a look at the Mini B in more detail, charge the battery up, take it for a quick run around the yard. Okay, before I get on to the unboxing, I would just say I've discovered something about tuning this car just before running it. You may watch the car in this video thinking, well, that's going a lot faster than mine, Richie. That is because there is an adjustment to the speed you can make, which is hidden away in the manual, which is not at all obvious from looking at the transmitter. So if you've got a Mini B already and you want it to go much faster, then carry on watching. And if you're buying one of these and when you want to beat your mates by a good 5 or 6 miles an hour, then you definitely want to watch this. It does come up as that double whoa Richie moment later on in this video. I went to J&M Hobbies in San Carlos, California to get mine. I'll put a link to them below the video because they really have got excellent stuff in there, which I can't thank enough for getting me an early version of the Mini B. Speaking of which, it comes in 3 different colour options. What one did I go for? Well, the one on the outside of the box, obviously. Completely ready to run as well. And if you're wondering why people are raving about the handling of this, it's based on the Team Losi Racing 22 design, which was a race-proven platform back in the day. As I said, it's a very small unboxing. In this case, I've already cut everything away. Our transmitter, fairly basic, not a lot to write home about in there. But funnily enough though, I've just been outside playing with exactly the same transmitter on my little Pro Jet boat on here. Unnerving that that's the same transmitter as on the Mini B. It's a fairly basic transmitter, I would say. Obviously steering on there, left and right, throttle, brake, reverse on there. It's got a channel 3 button, not sure what we can get that to control. Reverse, need to look in a manual to check what that reverses. Is it the throttle trim on the right here, or the steering trim on the left? On off switch. Couple of AA batteries, don't go in the base. Press this button here, slide this back, and the top opens up, pieces, and that falls on the floor, and we put a couple of AA batteries in the base there. Whoa, this is definitely a Richie whoa moment. This transmitter is not as cheap and cheerful as it appears to be. If you've been driving around with your Mini B and you've not read the instruction manual, you may well want to, because these trim buttons on the top of it, they're not just trim buttons, they're also dual rate buttons as well. But let's have a quick look at the manual and see what I mean. But for the racers out there amongst you, you'll definitely be interested in this, particularly the fact this car has got steering dual rate and throttle dual rate as well, controlled by these trim buttons. Whoa. I mean, this is like a double Richie whoa moment, because I've just been playing around with the car, as you're going to see in a second, and adjusted the steering dual rate, but it's the throttle dual rate you're going to thank me for. If you bought one of these and have been driving it around thinking, well, it's okay out the box, but it's not doing bad, trust me, you can make it go much faster when you adjust it like I show you. Now, as we see here in the manual, our buttons is throttle trim, but it's also the throttle dual rate and steering trim, and it's also steering trim dual rate, and that is not entirely obvious when you're looking at the transmitter itself. Anyway, let's quickly have a look at the steering dual rate, because I do think this is relevant stuff, particularly if you want to adjust the handling of this car, which does appear a little bit darty to start with, so you might want to dial the steering rate down. Power on our transmitter. Talk about super smooth and super silent, but for the steering dual rate, you turn the wheel full to one side or the other, Then use the trim buttons, and that is dialing the dual rate right down. So that is now our maximum steering movement on there. If you want to increase that again, all you've got to do, turn the wheel and hold the button down until you get your maximum, which you can see is quite a difference on there. Now I'm also going to cover the throttle dual rate, because if you've been driving round on your Losi Mini B thinking it's just the stock speed is just what it is, when you squeeze the throttle, okay, not too bad you're thinking. But if I apply a bit of throttle, just get it moving, then press the throttle dual rate button to increase it. So you can see with a little bit of playing around with the throttle trim, you're getting a vastly different top speed. How many people have bought a Mini B and thinking it's not as fast as they thought it was? Well, I've just shown you how to make it faster. Like and subscribe if you like that tip. And speaking of that transmitter, with everything else laid out, it even comes with 4 batteries for the transmitter, so I'm going to bang those in a second. A couple of spare body clips, radio receiver binding plug on there, wheel spanner, Allen key, and our all important USB charger. These are becoming more and more common. Looks like a 2S LiPo we've got to charge that up with, which must be lurking inside the car. So let's get the camera down, have a pan around the outside of the car, test that suspension out, then open the body up, have a look around the inside and get our battery on charge. Well, from the outset, whilst this thing might be quite small, look at how low slung it is. Also look at how wide it is. I have a feeling this thing is going to stick to the ground and corner like I've got glue stuck to the tyres. Speaking of which, those tyres, pretty good pattern and good feel to them, both front and rear. Smooth disc wheels on there, but the first thing that absolutely screams out, fully adjustable turnbuckles both at the front and at the rear. Steel drive shaft just at the rear, as this is only 2-wheel drive. But we've also got threaded shocks all round, both front and rear. Plastic shock towers as opposed to aluminium ones, but then these being made of plastic, it's going to keep the weight down, and that is what's going to aid the speed, acceleration and handling on this car. Now while the A-arms front and rear are plastic, we've got a full length aluminium chassis on the car. It feels like it probably only weighs about a pound and a half. I might even get the scales out, but that feels super lightweight. And bear in mind the battery's inside the car, so speaking of which, let's take a look. The eagle-eyed amongst you may have spotted what appears to be quite a neat feature on there. It's just got the one body clip, I believe, holding it down. Tucks in at the front. Woo! And whatever I was expecting, I was not expecting all of that lot. Anyway, let's go back to the front and start again. We've got a Spectrum SX107 analog servo on there, combined 20 amp ESC and receiver here, our brushed 280 can motor, and looking away here we've got, and looking away in the middle doing the powering duties, we have got a 2S 20C 650 milliamp LiPo. So I'm going to get that straight out and get that on charge. I'd also just point out that's a metal geared servo on there, and they claim the electrics are waterproof on here. The 280 can motor at the back, I've read up the instructions, and it's actually 47 turns on there if anyone was interested. And the battery is nice and easy to remove, just held in by that rubber strap on there. And with the battery out the way and on charge, I'll also point out that honeycomb side down either side of the chassis on there to give it more rigidity. And now we can see as well in a little bit more detail on that rear end. But being 2-wheel drive, there's an awful lot more to say about this car other than to finish charging that battery and get testing this thing around my yard. Just remember guys, if you like what you see today, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, first run with the Losi Mini B. Got the steering dual rate dialed in, got the throttle dual rate dialed in. I've been playing around with it off camera, and I have to say, I titled this video, is it worth $150? The answer is yes, for very good reason. Check out the brakes on that thing, and the handling is just absolutely sublime. And this concrete is not the best of grip surfaces on here. I have to say, it's the first like race spec buggy I've ever driven, and the handling compared to some of my other RC cars is just night versus day. The way that thing can change direction. Bear in mind I've got the dual rate on the steering dialed down quite a bit, so it's not too dirty at the minute. Because I've seen other people test driving the thing and it looked to be snatching around a little bit on the steering. So I'll dial it down a bit. I might turn it up a little bit once I've got used to the handling of it, but
That's going to just corner on full throttle on there. Can't wait to take this out to the track down at NorCal with John from Fog City RC. That's a hint for you there, John. Shortenster shows no tendency to either oversteer or well, maybe a little touch of understeer when I'm absolutely pushing it at speed. Sorry, I don't want to drive everybody mad going round in circles, but that acceleration is brisk. Consider it's just brushed. And that the difference is not a night versus day over what it was when the dual rate is dulled down. So if anybody's watching this thinking mine's quicker than theirs, yes, it probably is. Oh, now it's not going to like that wet grass too much at all. Two-wheel drive on wet grass, being so small. So not the best of surfaces on it, but that's not what it is. That's handling that not too badly at all. I thought it might get like kicked around. No, it's not getting kicked around. It is still, but it's definitely struggling for traction on there. Yeah, now the back tyre's wet a bit. You can hear that back end sliding around. I don't know if you can hear that on there a bit, but as soon as right off, that's got a grip back virtually straight away on there. Well, I should be taking this out later this morning to speed test it because I cannot wait to see how fast it is. I'm going to adjust the stock out the box then on the throttle dual rate, see how fast it is on the GPS, so just give you guys some idea what you've been driving around with it on. Then I'm going to put it up to the rate I've had it on and see what difference in speed we can get for free. But anyway, if you like what you've seen so far and you want to see more of this car, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.